Welcome to Turn to Your Doom, a choose your own adventure book podcast where someone reads a choose your own adventure book and the other person just kind of does the adventuring. Me, Art, other person, Faith.
Hi.
Yeah. So I heard that you think you convinced a space vampire to do something.
Yeah. I convinced him that he's a little bitch.
Well, unfortunately, he's not. He's in fact the opposite of a little bitch. In fact, he's a big bitch.
They're actually scary vampires. They're not sexy vampires.
Like you think you're pesto, but you're actually Mudang.
Like if they were interviewing with vampires, I could convince them to kill themselves. But no, they're actually scary.
Oh God, have you been seeing any TikToks about the pesto, the gigantic fucking king penguin?
Yes.
It's such a big fucking baby.
He is so large.
I can't wait to see him turn into a regular penguin because that's such a big penguin.
I know. I don't know. I cannot tell if he will get smaller and become a normal penguin.
It has to be at least the same size.
Or if he will get only bigger.
Yeah, it's yeah, but now we are doing part 2 of Space Vampire by Edward Packard and illustrated by Judith Mitchell. We had a pretty interesting, I'm not going to do too much of a recap because you should just listen to the previous episode, but after crashing out like super hard and stealing like a classified spacecraft that's not even released to the general public yet, we managed to make it to the ship with the space vampire on it. And we have a friend, Lori, who is, like, as far as we know, the last survivor of this ship. Everyone else has been drained and pushed off into space through waste tubes. They weren't even spaced like the regular way. He didn't even open up the airlock. He was just like, nope, you go down the toilet. Boop. So yeah, this space vampire, pretty scary.
Yeah.
Actually. And I'll say this book is written really well.
Yes. And our new friend comes already equipped with a knife, which is my favorite kind of friend.
Yes. Unfortunately, she might die in this one because you think like, oh, I'm so convincing. I'm a white kid that just graduated college.
Damn.
I could convince anyone to do anything.
You're so right.
So, and this is opposite of the choice where you try to juke him, but instead you basically like fry him with ion radiation from escape capsule, but then you puncture the space capsule, and it's like a mutually assured destruction thing at that point, which feels pretty normal for like a space thing. Like you get one or two of those, and depending on the space horror movie you're watching.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if this is the Alien series, that'd be par for the course.
Okay, so I'm thinking back. Sorry, this last sidebar. Thinking back, there was that one space horror movie that we watched with the colony ship. What was that called? I forgot what it was.
Oh, Pandorum. Yes.
Pandorum, yeah. Like, that movie, I think overall wasn't, like, great, but the twist was good. The twist was really good.
Yes.
Where it wasn't a space movie. It was an underwater movie the entire time.
Yes. Secretly.
Secretly. And the thing where they launch all of the capsules into space is actually the thing they needed to do, because they're underwater in the
Yep.
place they needed to be at. I think we've said that it would have been better as a series, where that would have been like maybe into season 1 or something, and like season 2 would have been like them trying to. Yeah, I don't know. It was like a decent movie, but like also at the same time, like I'm a little over. We're stuck on a spaceship with a scary thing stories. I'm a little over it. Like, I don't know. I feel like we had too many good ones already. Like, I feel like you're just retreading ground after a little while.
Yeah, you have to like really like Alien Romulus. You have to do it really good in order for it to be worth it.
Yeah, you have to do it really good, and you have to find a twist that isn't just like, oh no, we have to hide. Oh no, they know the whole ship.
Yeah,
Oh,
you have
what,
to have
they
a
can jump
twist,
really high? Like,
or
you have to have something real good.
or like Alien Romulus was very character driven, which I feel like could be very.
Yeah, like I feel like space stuff should be more character driven, maybe, and something with more dread than anything. Because I like all the space horror movies that we've had too many good ones where you can't really do anything without kind of retreading ground. I think so. That being said, this is a good premise for a space horror movie. It's a goddamn vampire on a spaceship. But yeah, so you, instead of trying to get into the escape capsule, decide, hey, I'm assuming tall white man. Which means you have a +5 to any charisma rolls.
Damn.
And you think you can convince the vampire not to hurt you with your words. So the vampire steps closer. Do not harm us and we'll help you, you say, stalling for time. Space Force is on the way. They'll blow you into atoms. The vampire laughs cruelly. Of course I want you to help me. That's why I let you come aboard this ship. You shall help me by becoming vampires yourselves. That's right. Instead of 1 space vampire, 2 space vampire, 3 space vampire.
God damn it.
You cup your hand around Lori's ears. Can you really do that? You whisper. Lori is shivering with fear. He can do it. He'll suck out half of your blood and then inject half of his own. Saying this is more than Lori can bear. She steps aside and lets out a wail. The vampire makes a move slowly towards you. His watery eyes fixed on yours. Wait! You raise your hand, desperate to say anything and stop his advance. But what can you do? You know the vampire has almost supernatural powers, but there's almost nothing you can do to defeat him. Okay, I have a question what's the line between supernatural and natural? If something naturally exists in the universe. Like, doesn't supernatural imply like otherworldly? Like outside of the norm?
Yeah.
If space vampires exist, then their powers are just natural.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we don't call
you could probably chalk them up to some like cosmic MacGuffin kind of stuff.
You could, but but we know that there's a planet of them, so that means there's an ecosystem that relies on space vampires.
A space vampire.
So, like, it'd be different if there was, like, one that was, like, changed to, like, cosmic rays, but, like, there's a whole fucking planet.
Or if, like a space vampire turned an entire planet into space vampires. That'd be another thing.
But then the ecosystem would still have to wrap around it. Like, either way, like, it becomes natural. Like, superhuman, maybe. But also, would you say that space vampires are different enough from humans, or are they just an offshoot of humanity? Or could aliens be turned into space vampires as well?
I would think... I wonder if it's like a Daybreakers situation, where they're an offshoot of humans.
I'm wondering, because, like, I would say the, like, stuff like mermaids and stuff like that are kind of an offshoot of humans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I would even say that undead are an offshoot of humanity as well. You know, like, but, like, it depends on, like, can they infect other things? Are there space vampire dogs?
I would guess not,
birds?
And that's only based off of the fact that if aliens existed, their biology would be so different from ours, it just wouldn't work. or they would just die
Yeah.
immediately.
Here's the problem when you connect vampirism with science. Now you have to ask the question.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, I don't know, it's magic.
Like either alien biology would be too different from ours for it to work, or they would die immediately because it is a disease that they are not accustomed to. Kind of like how in War of the Worlds the aliens died because, spoiler alert for a story that's like a century old, because they just could not handle the germs that existed on Earth. They were too alien to the aliens, and they just died.
Yeah, that being said, what if the space vampire thing is like a virus where it just like rewrites the DNA of whatever?
Yeah, it could be adaptable enough to like some viruses.
Could be.
That it could jump species to be species.
Are we gonna have to add this to our werewolf book somehow? Are we gonna have to...
like a zoonotic disease. Like it could jump, but it could also affect aliens in a different way.
Yeah. Once, let me tell you, once I have like any executive function, we're gonna get working on that werewolf choose your adventure book, and I will have a whole space segment.
Or maybe it could even be like hantavirus, where aliens would only be carriers, but humans would be actually afflicted by it. Kind of like how hantavirus is carried by mice, but it affects humans.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so you can't beat them with your hand. So if you try to convince the vampire that you could be more helpful to him, if he doesn't make you a vampire, turn to page 72. If you fire your last remaining jet on your space suit at him, turn to page 17.
Like you said, I am probably a tall white man, which means I do get extra charisma. But also, like, we could just kill this guy with our jetpack.
Could you?
I believe in myself. I want to try and kill him with the jetpack. You're a tall white man.
You can do whatever you want.
I can definitely. Yeah. I'm confident enough.
Okay. I'll try and kill him
with my jetpack. And if that doesn't work, damn. Not again.
You fire the jet and instantly you're slammed against the wall. The jet is designed for propulsion and not as a weapon. Whether or not you hurt the vampire, you have no way of knowing because you're not knocked cold. Hours later, you're awakened in the comfortable quarters of the ship captain. You're stretched out on a sofa, your head propped up on an armrest. Lori is sitting nearby, looking very strange. Her eyes were once dark browner and now are watery blue. She looks stronger. Her body seems much more muscular. Turning, you behold the vampire, his skin deathly white. His black hair glistens, a cruel smile on his face, as his steely eyes burns into yours. You jump to your feet and are at once surprised at the strength and power you feel in your body. You look at Lori. She returns your gaze with a glassy stare. Turn to page 85.
Lori, how'd you get those gains?
The vampire is smiling. I see you're feeling better, but soon you'll be getting thirsty. As he speaks, you feel a certain thirst. A strange, unnatural thirst. We're heading to Titan Station, the vampire tells you. You'll be glad to know that a new group of colonists just arrived there. Each of them containing about 2 gallons of blood. The end.
Oh, okay, fine.
Like, they really don't want you to go out in a blaze of glory.
Yeah.
Or anything.
I thought the protagonist would have a better plan than just that.
Well, let's do what tall white men have done their entire lives and bullshit them out of situations they shouldn't have.
See, if it was me, a small white woman, I would just cry.
Yeah, they'd be like, "Oh no, I made the white woman cry. She's supposed to be a treasure, an object for me to want and protect."
The whole space station starts rumbling.
Okay. Look, you plead. We're aware of your power. We realize we have no choice to do what you want us to do. But before you kill us or turn us into vampires, consider this. There are things we humans can do for you. Things you would like to do but can't. Like what? The vampire stops in his tracks. Well, no, it's alright. Well, you stretch out the word while you try to think what to say. You can't be about during daytime on Earth. Yet we can. We can do things while you have to be in your coffin. The cruel vampire laughs. His lips curl slightly on one side, as if he's about to bare his teeth. You dare not turn your head or even remove your eyes from the vampire's evil glare. But out of the corner of your eyes, you can see Lori, quiet as a cat, slipping out of the chamber. The vampire is crouching before you like a hungry leopard. A leopard that will spring at you the moment you fail to distract him. Turn to page 81.
I was hoping that you were going to be like, oh yeah, humans can do things that vampires can't. And the vampire's like what? And then you're just like, well, Pakistan.
You pocket sand him with garlic salt?
Like, that would actually be awful.
I'm just going to say that would also
pocket salt would be much worse than pocket sand.
Yeah, and it's the unrefined stuff, so it's nice and gritty. But some of it's like super fine for no reason, so it's just like
There are things humans could do that vampires can't, like come up with really stupid plans. Just really dumb.
I can guard your coffin, you say loudly. I can find victims for you and track them. And then, when you come out at night, I can lead you to them.
Yeah, hasn't this bitch read Dracula?
I mean, it's a classic at this point, like a high, like hundreds of years in the future. It'd be like us, like talking about like stuff Plato wrote.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, it's like far away. Maybe like this. Maybe he was just like, oh, I got to read this book by Bram Stoker. Dracula. I don't know. That sounds weird. Oh, Lair of the White Worm. Oh, that sounds way cooler. And then he reads it and be like, oh, fuck, this sucks.
That would explain a lot.
like the first book he read by Bram Stoker was the bad one because he only had one good book in him. You blurt the words out as fast as they come to your mind, all while wondering what Lori is doing. You're suddenly realizing that she's going to open the hatch of the escape capsule. In a flash, you snap your space helmet and lock it in fast. The vampire charges. At the same time, the hatch slides open. In a screaming rush of air, you and the vampire are sucked into the eternal blackness of space. You glimpse his tumbling form. His pale face is frozen in a look of horror. His body is rigid, almost instantly frozen in the near absolute zero of space. You watch him drift out of sight and into oblivion. Forever, you hope. Turn to page 105. With your spacesuit equipped to supply sufficient warmth and oxygen for 7 days, you're safe for the moment, but you're trapped, floating helplessly in space. You know Lori will try to rescue you, but the odds are against her succeeding. You've already seen how resourceful she is. Maybe you'll get out of this alive. Days go by. Your oxygen supply is almost exhausted. Occasionally you catch sight of a moving point of light. The Petra is searching for you. Your spacesuit only gives off a weak radar reflection. You struggle to keep your hopes, but you know your chances of being rescued are slipping by. Then you shout for joy, so loudly your voice hurts your ears, echoing inside your helmet. The Petra is heading towards you. Lori found you. The end.
Lori!
That's the one thing that, like, scares me the most about space, is the fact that you could be stuck with, like, enough oxygen to live for, like, a day or two, but no way of being rescued. So it's just, like, you having to, it's just you slowly dying while having to, having a come to Jesus moment, every minute, while just, seeing nothing around you, just, floating there.
Oh, yeah.
It's, yeah, it's, I think about a lot, and I don't like it. But yeah, you got rescued. That's good. But, too bad the vampire's gonna, hit, Earth somehow. With that direct, in about 100 years, he's gonna hit Earth, and then he's gonna, warm up, and it's gonna be, on the dark side. of Earth too. And all you did was just make your grandkids die from the vampire.
Sorry, I'm just imagining him making a person-shaped crater.
Yeah, there's a lot of vampire stuff too. You just happen to get the most, like, I don't want to say boring side, because it's not boring, but like the least active side, I'd say. Okay, so we're gonna go back a couple of choices. This is when you go out, whenever you dodge the Space Force by going out into space in your suit, your spacesuit, and hoping that you get to the Petra or the asteroid in time.
Oh yeah,
Which
because
you
you
do.
could go to one or the other.
Yeah, you go to one or the other. So we went to the Petra. We're going to do the other choice where you go to M33, which is the asteroid. So I'm going to turn to page 21. If there's no patrol station on M33, you're as good as dead. Even if there is, you'll have to do some fancy talking if you don't want to end up in jail. Still, it's a chance you'd rather take than walk into the arms of a space vampire. You calibrate your instruments and decelerate, then reverse thrust. As you coast for a landing on M33, you spot a small domed structure protruding out of the rock. A Space Force installation. And with your last bit of fuel, you jet to a landing a few feet away from the entrance and step unsteadily into the asteroid's pitted metallic surface. You walk towards the dome, 1 foot firmly on the ground. Gravity here is so light that if you jumped in the air, you wouldn't come back down. You would just go flying off into space. That would suck. What if you got happy and you went like, yippee! And you just like float off and die? You were like, yippee! Just, you can't be happy here. You float off forever. There's a notice posted on the entrance to the dome, and now you're close enough to read it. A new space patrol station will be opened here soon. It will be stocked with food, oxygen, and other emergency supplies. You shake the entrance door, but it's firmly locked. You stand there on the cold metallic ground. Your gauge shows that you have 3 hours supply of oxygen. Maybe the patrol station will be open before it runs out, but it doesn't seem likely. The end.
Oh, I was hoping the
And
sign
I
said
was-
something fun like no shoes, no shirt, no service.
Okay, well, we're gonna go back to the previous choice. And this is when we had 3 choices. So this is when the Space Force got a hold of your ship that you stole. We thought of something else. We were just like, I don't know, let's do this, and you just do the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
The other one, the other two is if you surrender, turn to page 43, and if you try to escape, turn to page 27.
Let's try to escape.
Let's try to escape. Man, you're feisty today.
Yeah. I
Ooh,
just woke up
so
from a nap
feisty.
and I'm ready to fight everyone.
You're not going to surrender now. You prepare for blackout and hit the hyper evasion button, hoping that the K1 will do its stuff. Nothing happens. The commander's voice is in your ear. You may have thought you've learned everything in Space Academy, but you have a good reason for keeping a few things secret. One of them is we have an override code for your key functions. Now surrender or else. Panicked, you throw the engine in neutral and direct all your power into putting up a force field. Your teeth chatter, your body shivers, but you're unable to move. Your hands rest on the control and your eyes are locked in a glass stare. You might as well be tied up, hand and foot. It's clear what happened. Computer override redirects its force field inside your ship. All you can do is wait for Space Force to come and get you. The end.
Rude.
Very rude. Okay. Now, let's see if what happens when you just surrender. You know the game is up. I surrender, you signal. At your court-martial, you state your only defense, that you're trying to catch a space vampire. I'm sorry for what I did, you added. That's a weak defense, the judge says. He's a white-haired, retired space ace with still gray eyes. He has a reputation for being kindly in manner, but strict on judgment. You committed a very serious crime, but your loyalty to the United Planets have never been in doubt. You proved yourself to be one of the most outstanding pilots in the Force. Too bad you won't be able to demonstrate your skills for a while. I'm sentencing you to a month imprisonment on Uranus. The judge bangs his gavel on his desk. Everyone rises as he leaves the room. For a while, you feel a sense of relief. You were afraid of receiving a much longer sentence. Then you remember a month on Uranus lasts 7 Earth years. The end.
Can we use the defense? I'm sorry I burned your house down. I'm just a girl and I was feeling a little silly.
You mean you did this? Wait, let me see. Yeah, you did this exact defense.
I'm sorry I burned down your house. I didn't mean to. I'm just a girl and I got a little too silly.
Yeah. Or
that's exactly.
Or
Hey, come on, I'm just a little guy.
Come on. Or you could have also done this.
One thing about me is I'll never be sorry for party rocking.
I mean,
yes, exactly.
There's also...
Okay, real talk. I need to be vulnerable for a second. That was exhausting. Back to being a dumb slut.
I like that one.
You should,
That's me whenever I'm vulnerable.
you should, you could have also cited some law where you can't be put into jail. And when they ask you, wait, where did you get that?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Okay, well, yeah. Turns out, Faith, I think you need to learn this, obviously. Don't steal top secret military equipment.
Fine.
Like, don't do it if you're in the military that it's for. Like, if you're not in the military,
they'll
take it.
They'll love it.
Take it. Well, no, they won't like it, but you can take it, and, like, people won't be like, oh, I'm going to court-martial you. Like, you'll just get regular shot.
Yeah. They'll be like, okay, fine.
Like, they won't like it, but, like, also, like, you won't, like...
Your government won't be jazzed about it, but, like, it's not the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah. So, okay, so we're gonna go back up one choice. And let me see what the 4... Okay, so instead of trying to get back up with Steve, which they immediately picked up, it was just like, yeah, we know.
I know, damn.
It's...
Steve!
Yeah, Steve ratted you out immediately.
Steve!
You go straight to the Petra instead. But yeah, so we're gonna go down this path. So without the Space Force looking for you, you don't dare to try to get help. You don't dare to try to get help. You'll take on the space vampire yourself. The K1 is not only fast, it accelerates and decelerates more quickly than any craft in the fleet. And with the navigational systems operating flawlessly, within a few hours you're coasting to a rendezvous with the Petra. Pulling alongside the long silver holds vessel, you have a weird sensation. It's as if you're visiting an Egyptian tomb. There's no way of telling how many passengers are still alive inside, but you can almost feel death through the skin of Petra. You shudder as you lock your K1. After taking a deep breath, you snap on your space helmet and grab the FFG. Leap into space and jet to Petra's main hatch. Quickly, almost too quickly you think, the hatch slides open. You step into a dark cube-shaped room. The outer door closes behind you. You hear a hissing of air. The inner door slides open. You step into a well-lit corridor. Where is everyone? Who lets you in? You'd almost rather face a vampire than this emptiness. You walk forward, looking for the control room. If there's anyone on this ship, someone must be on watch. Suddenly, a man is standing before you. His black hair glistens in the fluorescent light. His face so white he looks like a robot or an android. But you could tell in his eyes, his great hollow eyes, that they're real. You not only see them, but you feel them boring into your brain. Turn to page 44. This vampire advances towards you. step by step. Your fingers twitch as you try to aim your FFG, but the highest part of your brain, the parts that makes judgments, is paralyzed by the deathly glare of the vampire, who steps closer, 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 until one swift moment he seizes your neck. In that fleeting moment, you realize that the weapons are useless against this creature, whose great power not only lies in speed or strength, but in his irresistible will. The end. Yeah, you went down the short path, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
I promise you there's more vampires in this one.
You keep saying that, but I don't believe... No, I was kidding. I believe you.
You just keep on making the dumb choices.
Yeah.
Yeah, just keep making the dumb choices.
Just
That's
fight
how that works.
everybody.
Yeah, it turns out, guess what? Doesn't work.
Damn it. I wish I was the girl from the unicorn book. I mean, it didn't work in those either, but...
The majority of the time, it didn't work for her either. She just had an indomitable will. And no shame.
Will. I mean, there was that one where she did throw both herself and the warlock into the stream that makes you forget everything. And that kind of worked.
Well, she was... I guess it did. Okay. There was that other time where she tried to, like, wrestle the warlock, and the warlock was just like, what the fuck are you doing? And then, like, he easily pushed her over. You're not even a full-grown child yet.
Why are you so short?
Oh, it's because your
Shut up.
village is starving? Oh, okay. I'm gonna pick on this weak, starving child now.
This is a child. We can't turn them into a vampire.
Okay, so we are gonna go up a couple more choices where this is when you are put on that one ship, and the Canopians are going to attack. You're like, at this point you're still in good standing.
Yeah.
And instead of you saying let's fight, which was legitimately the reason why they basically made you a janitor, you're just gonna say let's not fight them. Let's go instead. So imagine the whole thing, that whole thing came down to you just like being a little trigger happy, Faith. You want to pick fights with things you can't win against.
I do.
You're 5'3" and you have Cookie Monster pajama pants on right now.
I am 5'4", and they are not Cookie Monster.
That's the spirit.
That's not any better.
Okay, so wise decision, Osprey. We have a more important mission. Hyperstations. You move to brace. Almost instantly, you black out as the X2 shifts into hyper mode. When you come to, you're cruising at negative acceleration, closing towards the Petra. As you approach the hapless transport, the captain assembles a crew in the control room. He flips a switch on the wall and the small control room panel to the side of the conference room. The room darkens, and on the 4-foot square screen, an image of a C-class transport appears. Then you hear the recently recorded message. This is the Petra, now en route to Earth from Base 10. Passengers and crews have been dying, always at night. Their shriveled bodies are found in the morning, emptied of blood. Help! The image disappears from the screen, and then the captain flicks on the light. Perhaps we should fire a laser burst at the Petra and blow up the few surviving passengers. Bill returns. Surely someone has a better idea than that. Then he looks directly at you. If you suggest boarding the Petra while it's still in space, turn to page 27. If you suggest waiting until the Petra lands on Earth, turn to page 16.
I would board while in space.
Okay.
It just seems too risky to let it land on.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a Chupacabra. Chupacabra, yes.
Chupacabra.
It could have been, like, all of the passengers could have been goats. Could have been all goats as passengers, and like you just weren't specifying.
Yeah.
I would count goats as passengers, just livestock passengers, though. Okay. Let's board the Petra mid-space. You say. I agree. Field's reply. But to capture the vampire, we must outwit him. One must volunteer to pose as his victim. Vampires are only vulnerable right before they attack, and at the moment their bloodlust reaches such an intensity that their powers of reasoning leaves them. That's why we must use human bait. Once again, Field's eyes are on you. So are the others. You realize you've been given a challenge. You're also the newest one, so you know.
Yeah.
You have to clean the bathrooms and also be bait, unfortunately. The future of the United Planets may depend on your reply. If you volunteer to pose as the vampire's victim, turn to page 10. If you decide not to volunteer, turn to page 28.
Sorry, I like the idea of like what was the one we read where you went to the third planet of Altair where you could just be like, I ain't doing nothing.
It's like I don't wanna. And
I don't
like
wanna.
you could just there's a whole line. There's just a whole line of stuff.
Yeah, you could just make everybody else do everything. Sure, I'll volunteer.
Okay. Ugh. Hey, I volunteer. You hardly believe what you're saying. It's the one thing to volunteer for a dangerous mission. That's expected of a Space Force officer. But to agree to be bait for a space vampire? You gotta be crazy!
Yeah.
If you succeed, however, you'll be a hero. You'll be well on your way of commanding your own starship. Captain Fields lays a hand on your shoulder. Osprey, you've taken on a tough assignment, but I'm confident you'll succeed. He steps back and looks hopefully at you and your crewmates. Well, here's my plan. Osprey will pretend to be sleeping. Jack, Serena, and I will be hidden behind the computer banks on the port side of the bunk room. The captain pauses to take a deep breath. When the vampire is about to strike, we'll immobilize him in a force field and tie him up in Illyrium wire. Illyrium is the only material strong enough to withstand the superhuman power of a space vampire. Why can't we shoot him? Smythe asks. A troubled look comes over the captain's face. Wouldn't that be easy? But if you studied vampires, you know that they're nearly immortal. Sometimes a vampire seems to be dead, but the spark of his inner supernatural life remains and soon restores the broken body. It's the only way to kill a vampire is to expose him to direct sunlight, no less than that shines on Earth. For a while, no one speaks. Any other questions? What should I do when the vampire comes towards me? Okay.
Kiss him on the mouth.
No, you ask. The captain bites his lower lip before replying. I don't know. Simply lie there and wait. If the vampire gets near you, almost on top of you, he'll be overcome with a lustful thirst. And then we'll hope that turns into him wanting to suck your blood. If not, I don't know if there's much we can do.
You might just have a boyfriend now.
Yeah, you might just be his boyfriend, and I'm sorry, I guess?
What the fuck? Then you have to, like, introduce him to your family. It's a whole thing.
Okay, might just make this a little bit of a longer episode.
Okay.
Because you accidentally chose the one that actually leads to more
things.
Stuff. Yeah, to things. 48. It's almost midnight. You and the rest of the X2 team boarded the Petra a few hours early. You're in a low, narrow bunk with a thin blanket around you. You pretend to sleep, but you've never been so wide awake in your life. Your bunk feels like a coffin. You lie there sweating, wondering why you volunteered to be bait. How can you be sure that Captain Fields and the others will get the vampire before he gets you? Suddenly feel a presence in the room. You hear a footfall, then another. The vampire is moving closer. You long to scream, to leap out of your bunk and run and lash out at him. anything but what you must do, which is lie completely still, pretending to be asleep. But the vampire arrives at the point of vulnerability, the moment when his bloodlust overwhelms him. Even with your eyes closed, you can feel the darkness about you as his huge form hovers closer. You hear a gasp, a sound of frenzied anticipation as he lunges. Your body goes rigid. A force field has arrested all motion. The vampire hovers over you, struggling, pawing at the air like an insect trapped in a spider's web. He shatters the air with a scream, but he cannot move. Captain Field deftly wraps Illyrium wire around the vampire's legs and arms. Osprey, take the first watch, the captain says. If the vampire tries to break loose, fire the stun gun at him. It will shake him enough to prevent him from breaking out of the Illyrium bonds. Turn to page 108. Trussed up with Illyrium wires, the vampire stands hopelessly in front of you. His huge eyes, black as coal, are so penetrating they could paralyze anyone who dares stare at him. But his eyes are closed as he stands, waiting for his death. The Petra is streaking towards the sun. In a few hours, the ship will be inside Earth's orbit. Then the vampire will be led directly to the control room, and the sun filters will be raised, and the full force of daylight will bring his almost immortal life to an end. Only then can he be safely buried in space. For until a vampire is killed by bright sunlight, there's always a chance the atoms in his body will reassemble, and he will live again to terrorize the world. To have captured and truly killed a vampire is a great feat, for which you and the rest of the crew will be richly rewarded. And yet, as you stand looking at this odious creature, you cannot help but feel a tinge of pity. And of course, you're curious about him. You read about vampires during years in the academy. Most experts hold that vampires don't really exist. But there's one actually standing before you. You very much want to question him. Yet, you know that vampires have very strong personalities. They can be hypnotic. It can be dangerous to talk to a space vampire, even when he's bound in Illyrium chains. If you talk to the vampire, turn to page 62. If you avoid talking to him, turn to page 53. This is when you stand with your back to him and be like, say it. Say what you are. And I'll be like, you know what I am. And the song is playing. The song is playing.
I'm not talking to a vampire.
Okay, that feels a little racist, but whatever.
Excuse me.
I don't talk to those people.
I'm not talking to him. He sucks. Literally.
It would be too dangerous to talk to the vampire aside. You take care to avoid to even looking at him, lest you fall under a spell. A few hours later, the captain arrives with Jack and Serena. You help carry the odious creature to the control room. He neither struggles nor complains. His spirit seems broken. The captain is anxious to complete the deed quickly. Perhaps he is afraid to be brought under the vampire spell. He presses a button to release the filters. The full light of the sun floods the compartment. You blink and squint in the dazzling light, but the effect on the vampire is far more grave. Like some great animal felled by a spear or harpoon, he lets forth a piteous moan. Then while you watch in horror, he shrivels into sheer nothingness. We defeat the vampire! He says softly. Wait, we defeat the vampire! Ooh, yeah!
Yay!
Cool. You and the others only nod. None of you feel like clearing your or clapping. You've done what you had to do. You'll earn medals and the thanks of all of Earth. But it's as if you killed a dangerous tiger or a magnificent snake. There's something sad about what you've done. The end.
Yay!
Yay!
Yay, he's dead.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we're gonna end it there. We're gonna do a rare part 3 because I feel like we don't have that much left, but we have a lot left, if you know what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's we have a chapter basically. And this one should be pretty fun because you're dealing with more than one vampire, or are you? Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, but yeah, this has been a good book so far. Do you have anything to say before we end this episode?
No, this was fun. I love vampire murder.
Yeah, I like it when it happens one side or the other. Like really, like honestly, depends on who the protag is. Really. So, but yeah, this has been Turn to Your Doom, and sometimes you just gotta open the windows up and kill a dying, like just kill a person for just trying to survive. Sometimes you just need to kill a person who's trying to survive.
Yeah.
Which is things that cops say all the time. Bye.
Bye.
Good night, Mr. the Missile.